So what kind of lessons have you learned so far? You're a year and a half into business?
Yeah, like 10 months.
Gosh, yeah, I guess, okay, July 22. Okay, fair enough, yeah.
So I think
I didn't do well in math, so.
I think the biggest lesson I learned is that, like, I need to build my team because, I could be an elite level operator, but that only goes so far.
Okay.
And so if I want what do they say? If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. And so it's like I need to build a team around me. I need to invest in them, and I need to pace myself until they're ready to take the next step because I can't take the next step without them.
That's a good lesson.
And what I also learned is, like, them not being able to do a job as well as me doesn't mean that I shouldn't let them do the job. It's like if they can do 60 or 70% of the job that I can do, I'm better off delegating that.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Well, how do they get better if they don't do it? Right?
Exactly. And I have young kids that work for me, and they're amazing.
How many employees do you have?
Two.
That's right.
Yep. And they're, all the potential in the world, and I can trust them, which I can't tell you
That's
how
huge, man.
How valuable that is. But we got to be patient. I mean, I'm 29. I've been, thinking critically about this with every hour I had for the last decade.
Yeah.
And it's my company. And so, like, I'm going to be done with work, and I'm not going to be done with work. So I'm going to keep going and pushing. And so kind of the learning curve is not as fast with employees as they are for employer. And just being patient with that and navigating that process is something that I feel like I've learned a lot about.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. Like, there are ways where I've stretched myself way too thin, and it's like, I didn't want to be a construction company. What am I doing with, like, $500,000 worth of iron sitting around a job site? And it's like, man, that's not what I'm trying to be. And so
how did that happen?
A pond. I had to restore a pond, and it was like a bougie pond. It was like
a bougie pond. Okay.
Yeah, a six-figure kind of pond that, like, is remarkable. I mean, it's got a sunken forest, and it's got a sunken ledge, and it's got
a sunken forest.
Yeah,
What's that?
Well, basically, on the property there were a bunch of area that had been logged and a bunch of, like, piled up trees, and so I went and got those and lodged them in the bed of this pond, and when the pond fills, it's like a forest underwater for the fish.
Oh, that's cool.
And so, like, that's what I love. I love the design. I love the creative. I love, because I understand the biology, I can, like, manipulate these systems in the land to be hyper productive.
What does that do for that system then?
Yeah. So wood is a really, really important thing in any stream, creek, lake, whatever, because it basically lets the foundation of the food table or web be built. And so that's where insects are going to be kind of boring and living off of. There's like interstitial space, which is a term that just basically means more surface area available for things to grow on. And then in turn, the fish that prey on all those little species are, like, attracted to those areas. And then the biggest fish, which we want to catch, that eat the littler fish, are hanging around the edges of those areas. So it's like you're just building more opportunity for life, and using wood and using rock strategically can add to all that. And then it's just like basic geometry stuff too. Like, the more area that you have in your pond that light can get down to, if you put the right plants in there, then plants can grow in the water, and that can provide more life rather than just algae. It's like you're either going to have algae or you're going to have plants. And
I'd rather have plants.
You'd rather have plants, and that's how you get clear water, and then how you support life and how juvenile fish can hide. And so there was a class in college that was life history of fishes, which was one of my favorite classes. And basically you learn about what a fish needs when it's an egg and when it's juvenile that just hatched, and what it needs when it's young and growing, and what it needs when it's time to reproduce. And so understanding all that biology helps me design with excavator and heavy machinery to reshape the land so that it can be maximally productive.